You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, the Podcast Mogul Phil Better, and today I have the OG business Sherpa himself, Tristan Wright, here on the show. And we're going to be talking about everything business, how to scale your business, how to get up there into the next levels. But first of all, Tristan, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. I've been looking forward to having this chat today.
Oh, yes. And Tristan's in the future. I'm in the past, since if you can't tell from his lovely accent, he is in Australia. Tristan, how about you give my audience a quick introduction about who you are and what you do?
Jeez, do you want the 30-second story, or do you want the half-hour story? I don't know if we can fit it into a quick.
Yeah, let's go the 30 seconds, and then we'll build out from it.
All right. So who I am today? I'm a father of one. We've got a lovely partner, Erin, and I run a business called Evolve to Grow, and it's basically helping business owners climb their mountain. In my spare time, I love running, love riding, and doing marathons, which is a bit crazy. So I've run a business prior, made lots of money, lost lots of money, and then rebuilt it and sold it.
There we go. That's awesome. So you've done all the types of scaling and all that, and you've done it multiple times. So you're ready to help. So that's why you go into the business of growing other people's business, because it's just as fun without much of the risk, I would say.
Yeah, that's it. So, well, there is risk because it's reputational risk.
Yes.
So
it hurts more than losing the money, because you can always make money, but building up a reputation is super hard. But obviously, being the business Sherpa, you helping out hundreds of people, so obviously you know what you're doing. The first question I usually ask all my guests here is, were you always an entrepreneur from birth, or was it something that you just decided to try it?
Well, I never liked working for anyone. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I guess you were an entrepreneur from birth, a self-starter, as they say. What was your first venture, like as young as you can remember?
Okay, so as young as I can remember, what was my first venture? I can tell you my first successful venture, which was my business. But like as a kid, there's so many different little bits and pieces that I was doing.
All right, let's go your first. Sorry, your first. It's fine. No, it's fine. It's a loaded question as well. I understand that. But let's go your first successful business. What was it? How did you start in it?
So it actually started when I was out riding my bike with mates and my mates. So this is push bikes, not motorbikes. My mate said we all need to get a uniform, and I got lumped with the job of organizing uniforms for them. And I looked for suppliers in Australia or manufacturers or brands in Australia. I wasn't happy with anyone. So I thought, hey, there might be I might be able to go direct to China, direct to where all the manufacturers are and cut out the middleman, so to speak. And I did that. And everyone was super happy with the clothing that we organized until we got on the bike and everyone looked at the people in front of them and the shorts were see-through.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, we're accidentally flashing everyone when we're going riding. So obviously I didn't know how to spec in a product at the time. And it's like, oh yeah, Lycra is Lycra and yeah, it's going to be fine. But no, there's different types of Lycra. So, but I'd learned enough in that little venture that there was a business opportunity. So still had my day job, but I thought, I've got a network in the cycling world, or the running world, the triathlon world. Why don't I go and set up a brand and meet all the needs of everyone? And I did just that. I set it up in my spare time, worked on it on my kitchen table from home in the evenings after hours. And within a year, I was still working the day job, but I was turning over 300 grand just working in the evening. So,
Wow.
Yeah. But and I was 24 at that stage, I think. So that was a start of my first main venture. There was a few hurdles along the way in that big business.
And then it brought you all the way up to here being helping businesses grow.
Yeah, like that business, I went full time on it. I turned it into a 7-figure business. I then decided, or didn't decide to, I was arrogant and thought I didn't need help from others. I had a big ego. And
yeah.
At 26, 27, I was 200 grand in debt and didn't want to leave the house, marriage breakdown. So yeah, it went from being super successful to being in massive amounts of debt. But fortunately, I was able to rebuild it and clean it up, make it profitable again and sell it.
Wow, that is an insane story right there. Insane that you went that roller coaster went from nothing but a side hustle at night to 7 figures, then crashing down and then rebuilding it and still selling it for a profit. Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, and I looked back on it and I'd sold it before I was 30. So I'd done all of that before I was 30, and I just thought it was normal at the time, but not many people, when you look back.
No, I can tell you that's not really a everyday occurrence. Not everybody's making 7-figure businesses and then crashing it into a depressive state and rebuilding it. I can tell you that that's a select few. That's like 1% of the population is probably doing that.
Yeah, I'd probably say it's less than 1% of the population now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm one of those crazy weird ones. So, but I learned so much in that journey about, like, it's not all about business. Business is actually a tool for life. You set up your business so you can enjoy your life, so you can actually work from anywhere, so you can spend time with your friends and family and still make that income.
So true. That's what business is. It's you build it so that you can have the freedom. Money buys freedom, which then buys happiness. So
yeah, but yes, money buys that, but it's the mindset that creates it.
Yeah, having that positive mindset, happiness in you smile a lot, and that's friggin' awesome. That's how happy you are. So people who are just listening, you haven't stopped smiling since we started recording, and I love it because it shows how much happiness you have.
It might be because I've just come back from a massage and I'm about to jump on a plane to go to Bali.
That'll do it. That'll do it. That'll make anybody smile in the zone and that.
But I do smile all the time as well.
Yeah. How did you get into being the Sherpa for people, for helping people scale? Like, was it just this random occurrence that happened, or was this something you planned all along?
So after I sold the business, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I sold the business, I've got a new partner by this stage, and we went on a holiday and spent a month, or I think almost 2 months in Europe, just just relaxing. And we're in Croatia and having wine, having a few glasses of wine one afternoon, one evening into the morning, just talking about what the future held. And Aaron was asking, we were talking about what made me happy and what I was good at. And we went back to when I was a child, because like at the end of the day, between when we were 7 and 15, that's what really our actions there and what we do there forms us as a human being moving forward. So back then, I was always playing sport. I was always captains of teams. I was at school. I was always leading things. I was always wanting to help others. So we're like, okay, cool. This is what makes me happy. That. And then we thought, what are my skills and what are my experiences? And business. I've built a business. I've blown up a business. I've rebuilt a business. I've sold a business. All right. How do we tie those into what people need? And it's like, oh yeah, people actually often run a business and they're so lonely and they don't actually have the support network that they need to actually enjoy their business or to grow their business, or at least set it up in a way that it actually works for them. So it was like the penny dropped, and I thought, why don't I use my passions and my skills to help others in their business journey? And the rest, as I say, is history.
That's awesome. When you started Evolve to Grow, did you have an original concept of where you wanted to go?
So the main concept is and this is what I teach my clients, it is begin with the end in mind. Understand what your ultimate objective is. And for me, it's time freedom, being able to choose what I want when I want to, our family to be able to do that, and not to be concerned about if there's a cost involved with that. Like, because at the end of the day, money impacts all of that. So basically to create enough asset wealth to be able to, and continual asset wealth growth, to be able to control my time and have freedom. So that from a personal standpoint, that's what I wanted to achieve out of the business for me. But to be able to show others to do that, how with a business, how they can do that for themselves as well. That's why I set up the business.
You were an engineer beforehand. Moderately, as you put it, a moderately successful engineer.
Yep.
And now you run an amazing business. You cycle. You're going to Bali. Would the 7 or like the 10-year-old you believe you would be doing this?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. So when you get stuck into the day-to-day, you don't realize what you've achieved. But when you take a step back, it's like, holy shit. Hopefully I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I've achieved a fair bit kind of thing. It's a pretty good life. It's making others happy. It makes us happy. We've got, things are pretty good. So 7-year-old, 10-year-old me, I didn't know what I wanted then. So, and my parents both worked a 9 to 5. So I didn't know what it was like to be running a business where you can control your time and can control your life. So we just lived a traditional lifestyle as a kid. So it was as I got older that I realized that there's more opportunities in life.
That's awesome. That's a great response. Damn. What is there anything that you want to accomplish? Like in the next 5 years, do you have a goal that you care to share, either for business or personal, that you're looking to hit?
Business-wise, it is to impact more people than I am now, like on a continual basis. So, and what I mean by that is to be able to educate and show others that their business can actually really be a tool for them to build wealth, to build assets, to actually have more capacity and more freedom. So that once you, if I continue to do that with more clients, I'm able to hit my personal goals. So, and or my personal business goals. So really, it is, yeah. Let's say right now I'm on a daily basis, I'm impacting 30 business owners. If I can impact and have those massive changes for 70 or 100 more business owners, geez, the world's going to be a much happier place, and there's going to be 70, 80, 90 more happy families that get to spend their evenings with their mum or with their dad rather than their parents being stressed out about having to work 60-hour weeks and support their staff.
I think that's what we all want. We're probably around the same age, and we grew up in that traditional life where mom and dad were both busy hawking out a living because, life is hard and expensive. So I love that goal of yours to help out and have more people at home so that you can have that mom and dad time with the kids.
Because it's important. Because like at the end of the day, your family is the most important. Your friends are next. But we often put our family and our friends a distant third or distant fourth behind our business. And who's going to be there to pick up the pieces when something goes south? It's your family. So you should be focusing on how you can spend more time or quality time with them.
Now, I'm wondering, because you did mention that you have a young child. Did you see your goals or your view kind of shift when you did have your child, or was this something that you kind of had ingrained in you before you had your child?
Yeah, good question. So, my upbringing, like parents always spent time with us and put us first. So, like that was ingrained with me. But what I will say is I feel I'm relatively lucky in the fact that I can think macro right through to micro level and think about the impacts today, what actions I do today, the impacts that'll have on me in 5 and 10 years, or the people around me in 5, 10 and 20 years time. So I'm lucky that I don't get overwhelmed by macro or micro level thinking. I can bounce between the two. So many business owners can either only focus on micro level thinking, which is making sure more profits come in today, but forget about the future, or they can only think about the future, which means the business is losing money, hand over fist kind of thing. So I'm one of those lucky ones that can straddle both sides, both for myself, my family, my business, but also for others.
Jesus. You are a Sherpa. You're laying down logic as well. You're the guy sitting at the top of the mountain, bringing us to you to share your wisdom.
Well, it's only because I made all those screw ups in my business, and I've learned from those lessons, learned the impact of them, and then I learned from all of my clients and use that knowledge to share with others. So when you make mistakes, or when others make mistakes, you need to learn from them, use them as lessons, and work out how you don't make those mistakes again and how you can be better from them.
Yeah, I feel that some people run from those failures. They run from having the chance of failing and falling on their face, or getting that tomato in the face of failure, instead of looking at what it is as like it's a lesson. And when you work with so many people, you have the opportunity to see other failures that come, and already you can create the correction for it, so you can avoid it in the future as well.
Can we make this podcast M-rated? Can I swear?
Yeah. There's only 2 words that I don't allow on it: the hard C and the N word. Those are the only 2 words.
Cool. I'm not going to say either of them. I'd never say them. I've got a saying, we've got to fuck up and fuck up fast. So because we're going to fuck up no matter what, it's better to make the mistake now so you can learn from it and improve yourself tomorrow. Because if you sit on it and don't make the mistake for 6 months' time or 12 months' time, you're just going to be treading water and not progressing or growing as a person. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just go and do it, make the mistake, learn from it, and progress and move forward.
I love it because it is true. It is something that I get stuck in my head on my entrepreneurial journey too, of always trying to be perfect, but you have to fuck up before you can become perfect, or you get to that, start moving forward. It's something you have to remember.
You can never be perfect.
That's also something I'm dealing with as well. That the idea of being perfect.
I'll use an analogy that let's say climbing Mount Kilimanjaro is your idea of being perfect. So getting to the top of one mountain is your idea of the best outcome. Once you get to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, you'll actually see that there's a mountain not far away that is actually higher. So you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm at the top of this peak. Now I've got to descend and then go up to the next peak. So you've got to keep progressing and moving forward and realize that there's no way to be perfect, because if you ever hit perfection, you're not going to hit fulfillment. Once you become perfect, you're just going to be once you make something perfect, you're just going to be sad after that. So you've got to keep progressing and moving forward and setting incrementally higher goals or incrementally higher standards. But your standards at the start should be a tiny bit lower.
Again, more wisdom from the Sherpa himself, Tristan. Tristan, I'm gonna jump off the screen shortly. I do want to ask, out of all the books you've probably read, and you probably read a plethora of books, is there one book that you feel would be beneficial for podcasters, or not podcasters, entrepreneurs to read?
Have you heard of a book called The Happiest Man on Earth?
I have not.
It's by a guy that actually just passed away at the end of last year. His name is Eddie Jaku. He was in Auschwitz. He was interned in Auschwitz a couple of times. He lost half of his family. So he was obviously Jewish. He got treated like shit throughout his life. He ended up moving to Australia a couple of years after the war and decided that he was going to wake up every day happier. And if you listen to his story or read his story, you realize even through all the shit and tough times that we've been through, it's a mental choice of ours whether or not we want to be happy and whether or not what we want to achieve in life. So it's a real eye-opener from a personal perspective to what we're actually capable of and the fact that we choose the path that we want to go on.
Damn. I'm definitely, as you were talking, I went and found it and or put it in my books to buy off Amazon or onto my Kindle, because that is something I want to read. Because like you said, choosing to be happy, we can choose to be sad, we can choose to be angry, we can choose to be happy, or we can choose to be successful. So each day we try and be a little bit more successful in our journey. And that's something I think more people need to realize.
Definitely, because at the end of the day, only we can control how we think. Only we can control how we act. So if we make a conscious choice to be positive and to progress and move forward, our life is going to be so much more fulfilled and we're going to be so much more content with what we achieve. We don't have to live life how the world tells us to live life. We don't have to run our business the way the world tells us to run our business.
So true. We control it. We are all doing our own little journey in this world. We're all made of stardust if you want to go down there, but it is a mindset. It is being more positive. And you can see it in all these people who are successful. They all say it's a mindset. Every day I just go out to try to be a bit better moving forward. Tristan, I'm going to jump off the screen here. I'm going to let you let my audience know where they can connect with you, how they can maybe support you, follow you, get more of your lessons. So the floor is yours, sir.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So easiest way to find me is jump on the website and search my name, Tristan Wright, and my business name, Evolve to Grow. And then you'll find me from there. You'll find me on LinkedIn, find my website, find me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook group called the Business Evolution. And if you want to connect and ask questions in there, you go through there. And I've got a newsletter on LinkedIn, which would be really cool to sign up to. So they're probably the easiest ways to connect with me.
Awesome. And of course, my audience knows in the show notes and in the show description, you can find all the links to connect with Tristan. Tristan, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on the show. It was a pleasure talking with you and having this fun discussion about how important mindset and happiness is in the business world.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much, and remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.